Gwadar, from sleepy fishing village to global maritime marvel, nestled along the warm turquoise waters of the Arabian Sea, Gwadar, once forgotten. On Pakistan's southwest coast, has quietly emerged as one of the most geopolitically intriguing cities in the 21st century. But Gwadar's transformation isn't just a story of modern strategy and economics. It's a sweeping historical tale of empires, sultans, seafarers, and global ambitions. Where land meets legacy, the ancient roots of Gwadar. Long before satellite maps and port blueprints, Gwadar's story began with wind-blown sails and camel caravans. Archaeological evidence suggests it was part of ancient trade routes stretching across Persia, Mesopotamia, and the Indian subcontinent. Merchants, mystics, and migrants passed through this arid gateway, their stories woven into the DNA of the dusty coastal soil. By the 7th century, the arrival of Islam via Arab traders left an indelible mark, and Gwadar's shoreline slowly transformed into a cultural melting pot, half Baloch, half Bedouin, fully resilient. A sultan's jewel, Omani Rule over Gwadar, 1783 to 1958. In an almost storybook twist of diplomacy and personal exile, the Sultan of Oman was granted Gwadar in 1783 by the Khan of Kalat. This was no empire-seizing conquest, but rather a strategic gesture to a prince in exile who would later reclaim his throne and rule Oman. For 175 years, Gwadar remained a foreign outpost of Oman, its fate tethered not to the South Asian subcontinent, but to Muscat's royal ambitions. The Omani flag fluttered above its forts, and Arabic became a familiar tongue in the coastal breeze. A small port, a modest garrison, and a quiet fishing community defined life there. Reclaiming the coast, Pakistan purchases Gwadar, Oman's approach to India. During the late 1940s and early 1950s, Oman was exploring its options regarding Gwadar, which at the time was a relatively insignificant, underdeveloped port town. Oman did reportedly offer Gwadar to India, or at least sounded out the Indian government informally. India declined, primarily because Gwadar had no direct territorial or strategic value to India at the time. India was focused on consolidating its own newly independent territories and managing issues like Kashmir and Hyderabad. There were also diplomatic and economic constraints. India did not want to complicate its relations with regional players unnecessarily. Why Pakistan was more interested? Pakistan, on the other hand, recognized Gwadar's strategic maritime potential early on. Gwadar's geographic and ethnic proximity to Balochistan made it a natural fit. Pakistan lobbied the UK, which had strong ties with both Oman and Pakistan, and eventually paid $3 million in 1958 to acquire Gwadar. A missed opportunity for India? In hindsight, India's refusal is sometimes seen as a missed strategic opportunity, especially given Gwadar's current role in regional geopolitics through CPEC and China's Belt and Road Initiative. As the post-colonial world realigned in the mid-20th century, Pakistan set its eyes on Gwadar. Recognizing its untapped potential as a deep-sea port, the government entered into quiet but decisive negotiations with Oman. In 1958, after British mediation and a $3 million transaction, Gwadar officially joined Pakistan. With this, the dusty fishing town was back on the South Asian map, now with a new flag, and a destiny yet to be realized. The sleeping giant awakens. CPEC and the new Gwadar. For decades, Gwadar remained under the radar, a quiet town where fishermen cast nets into ancient waters. But in the early 2000s, that changed. China saw what others had overlooked, a strategic gem at the mouth of the Persian Gulf, just a stone's throw from the Strait of Hormuz, through which nearly 20% of the world's oil passes. Under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, Gwadar became the crown jewel. Massive investments flowed in. Roads, railways, and power plants sprouted from the desert. The Gwadar port, envisioned as a trade gateway for Western China, began to take shape, one container terminal at a time. Culture, community, and continuity. Despite the cranes and cargo ships, Gwadar remains deeply rooted in its Baloch identity. The rhythm of life is still tied to the tides, and the scent of salt and fish still fills the bazaars. Yet, its people straddle two worlds, ancient traditions and futuristic ambitions. Many families trace ties to Oman, and Arabic names and customs remain interwoven into the cultural tapestry. Conclusion: a city at the crossroads of time, Gwadar is more than a port. It's a portal to the past and a promise for the future, a city where old empires and new economies collide. Once a sleepy fishing village under the watchful eye of an Omani sultan, it is now a pivotal player in 21st century geopolitics, a hub of global trade, and a symbol of Pakistan's maritime aspirations. From camel caravans to cargo ships, Gwadar's journey is a reminder that sometimes, the most remarkable stories rise not from the center of the world but from its quiet edges.